Welcome to Dovecraft Country, the podcast, hosted by Goddess Love Jones, DKA X Factor, DKA Bad and Bougie, DKA My Special Sister. I'm your other host, Black Chanel, DKA The Guru, DKA The General, DKA Red Panther, DKA Chanel. And this is a podcast where two divas talk to you about the HBO series Lovecraft Country. Coco, how are you doing? We have one more episode left.
This has been such an experiment and such a fun project. This is our actual second creative project together. Thug Wives was our first, and some of that is released in the ether. So if you find it, let us know. But yeah, this is dope. It's been dope. I wish there was more episodes, like 20.
Listen, I want to say that, but the way this show continually stresses us out, how can you actually say that? Like this show,
I know, but I told you I'm into it now. The drama.
Yeah, this was ironically the least stressful episode, and it was super traumatic, but it was a regular trauma. It was a trauma I know. I was like, by the end, I was like, oh, girl, comfort zone.
You know that much trauma? Oh, yeah.
I was like, at least
familiar. We've been going through this. We've been learning about this. Like,
you know that phrase, "Don't trade the witch for the devil." That's how I felt. It's like,
or the devil I know versus the devil I don't.
Exactamundo. That's what it was. Okay, well, this is dope. So we're covering episode 9, which I think is called Remember 1921, which I knew was time traveling just from that name. And I'm going to give it to you to get us started.
Let me just take that breath, that, cleansing breath, because
power
it gets
pose.
Real.
And go.
Mine is actually really is like a pout. But anyway, okay, moving on. Yeah, my power pose is mirror selfies, but that's just me. So, this episode starts off chaotic because it ended where Dee had been attacked by Topsy and Bopsy, which is what the internet is calling the evil twins from last episode. I was calling them Ava and Topsy, but whatever. We'll figure that out if we ever read Uncle Tom's Cabin. But
yeah,
Dee is visibly ill and unconscious, and her arm is decaying. Where the evil twin dug into her skin, and Montrose couldn't see it, so he couldn't really stop it, but he was actually making it worse. Terrible.
Poor guy.
And they're getting into an argument as to who's to blame for not protecting this child. And Ruby, this is when I was like supporting her. I was like, you said one thing that makes a lot of sense. They're all in the wrong. Nobody protected her accurately. How could you lose the child? And how could you let her leave, Letitia? Or like, how could you leave Montrose? How could you let her sneak out? Like, it was all bad. Like, as adults.
Wait, quick question. 2 things. Not to take away from your moment where you stand Ruby, but one, like, if Ruby had been a part of this, she also would have been arguing how it was someone else's fault. That's for what. But 2, where was she again?
Because she's the babysitter now, so she's supposed to have some.
But I'm saying, where was she at? They all went to different places to look for her. Where did she go?
Oh, I don't know.
I forgot now.
That's a good question.
Oh, she went straight to William's house, bitch.
Whoa. Oh, yo, wait. She definitely went to get some cutty.
Talk about it's all y'all's fault. Oh my God, she went to
go see the coochie man.
She's a villain.
It's everybody's fault.
Wait, you know what? Sorry, we jumped right in.
Coming from inside the house. Anyway.
Yo, thank you so much for that reference. But actually, wait, we almost forgot to acknowledge indigenal. Let's just
start again.
You want to just do it later? Because I just messed it up.
We can do that at the end.
Okay. Because I don't even want to start off wrong like that. Right. So, Ruby.
So, Ruby says they're all to blame. Tick says that Christina can... I'm sorry, I have to like move my notes closer. Tick said that they should call Christina again. Why are we calling her? But he says, like, let's call her. We can leverage Titus's pages, and she'll give us something. If we give her something, she'll save Dee's life. Montrose is like, oh, let's use the spell we just used. I'm like, what is the spell?
Bruh,
how come you haven't said what it exactly? Like, you didn't even know what it was doing. Tick don't know how to call the monster, how to summon the monster from last episode.
He made it sound like a Missy Elliott song. He was saying that shit all backwards. Okay, that's mean because I'm not.
It's right because he has a learning disorder. Shit. Anyway, we are moving on. Problematic. Very problematic.
Only because it's true. You're right. I apologize. That's rude.
we accept her apology. So yeah, but Montrose is like, yeah, let's use that random spell. We don't know what it does, but the only one we know. And I'm just like, why do you think it's a catch-all? Is that how magic works? Like, I clearly know the wrong thing. I thought you had to have a specific spell for specific things, but I guess it's all about intention.
Do you think we're at the point now where Montrose don't know no more?
Yeah, we are. He was reading the books. He was caught up. He was superstarring, and now he's just making it up. He's strong and wrong. Loud and proud.
Listen, that's what he's finally like, oh no, just to continue the metaphor, ticked and crossed, and he's like, listen, let me show you something. We put on a facade, okay? This house is not strong. Anyway, sorry. So
that is so funny. Oh my god. So yeah, I'm just like, why do you think this is a catch-all? Then Letitia spills the beans that she already talked to Christina and traded the pages for something for her own vulnerability and not even anybody else's. So Montrose is like, bitch, what the fuck? Like, you just care about yourself. You fucked us all. And then she's just like, well, I just had to. And then Ruby's like, she had to protect her baby. And then before she gets to baby, Letitia's like, can you not put my business in the street, sis?
How about
Thanks.
the fact that I maybe would not have admitted it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, no. Let's just try it again. She might have forgot. And then Christina would have been like, I don't need those. What else you got?
Right. And I'd be like, this bitch really is a witch. How'd she get the pages?
That would have been a better way of doing it, to be honest, in my opinion. And then it would have still gotten them to the same point. But now you don't have to, like, lose Tick's trust or something. Whatever.
At least she told him immediately, yeah, because she definitely could have told him at a worse time. So, yeah. Whatever.
But if you think about last episode, she could have really flipped it on him. You want to talk about trust? And you had that bitch in my house last week?
Wait, poor Gia. I know that was a long flight home.
Where's she now? Right?
Oh, that was
she's literally in the sky right now.
There like, fuck, this flight was $6,400. Like, just
right.
Being like,
and then she goes, that really didn't go the way I thought it was gonna go.
and I see the future.
Right.
Wait, but Tick, we still haven't seen.
What? Are we getting into it?
Remember, her part of her vision was Tick strapped up on that table. That's him. That's gonna be next.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was seeing that later in the episode. Okay, back on track because we only got into like the first 2 minutes. So basically, Ruby jumps up and she's like, "Oh no, my baby's gonna do it for me. Wilhelmina is gonna do a spell for me because I have."
Like, huh?
Right. She's like, she'll do it for me. And I'm like, does Montrose and Tick know that she's been sleeping with the enemy? So they didn't really catch on to that.
Like when your friend starts talking about their business in front of a friend you don't know that well, but you're like, all right, if you telling her in front of me, okay, I guess we all know the same shit, so I'm going to tell her a little bit more. But I don't know the third person's business unless she says it. That's what happened.
That awkward moment, and then it says, I didn't know that part. I didn't tell you that part. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Like, can we just take the opportunity to all just lay it all out real quick here?
For them, like, everyone get on FaceTime, get on the group message. Like, we're going to catch you up. Like, I don't know what it needs to be. House party. Like, we need to catch up. Family
not house
style.
Party. That's amazing.
Because they're just like, oh yeah, this other secret that some people know, not everybody. But anyway, so whatever. They get Christina to come, and she was like, "Hey, I know magic. What do you need?" What?
Oh no, wait, no. She was like, this comic book should be in stores. Like, bitch,
right.
To the point.
Oh my gosh, she really was like, hold on. Tell me more about this D. She's like, I need to know her backstory. Ooh, wow. Angsty child. Oh, parents. What is it? Estranged from parent. Like, what? Crazy. I'm like, if I was D.
D is the ghostwriter to Stan Lee and everything Marvel made.
Right. And also in this moment, if Dee's in a coma and she like hears what's going on, but she can't like respond, she's like, bitch, can you just take this fucking curse off me?
But actually, that was the smartest thing Dee did because no one else could see it. Mm-hmm. So that actually was kudos to Dee because
that's true.
When I tell you, I would never have thought to do anything but scream into the phone, these bitches trying to kill me. That's it.
Please give us more details. I don't know, but they're after me. They are after me. Don't you see them? Them? Like, who are they? Don't you see them? They're scary as fuck. Anyway, so, okay.
I don't want to.
Christina's like,
it's gonna sound real anti-black.
Oh yeah, but when they show what Dee really looks like, she's now taking on their features, Topsy and Bopsy's features. Like, it's not just her arm; it's like spreading to her whole body. So it's like, at what point does she die, and then she has to be in the casket like that? Like, that's unfortunate.
This is what's really fucked up. I feel like that was part of the spell, was on purpose to change her, to make her look like some ugly iteration of a black girl, because it was like, it wasn't meant, like it made her look like
respectability
that.
politics.
Scary. Yeah.
Someone no one will ever believe. They will, disown her from the family. They'll never listen to her story because she's not who they think she is. So that's really fucked up. Wow. Traumatic. Twice over. Okay. So Christina leaves. And this one, when it gets real fucked up, it's giving Tuskegee experiments. Because Christina's like, I'll do your little experiment. I have an errand to run, so I'll be back. Take some time. Think on it.
That's when I sneak out the house during COVID. I'm like, I gotta be right back. I'm just driving around the block.
And she goes to the police. I don't know where they've been. Like, it's like they have either like a police house, or it's like they're like, what is it called? Like the office. Like, I don't know. It's not the police station that they go to.
The Clan Lodge.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's a lodge, but they haven't really like described it as such. But anyway, and they have the chief who was supposed to have died when the monster came out last episode, and he's in the closet like sewn together and bloody. So it's like, why are you sewn together? And then it makes sense because one of the other police officers go, "Ooh, it pains me to say this. We can't keep killing these niggers." I said, ah! And he was basically saying that they've been doing experiments on black people, taking them, kidnapping them, and then using their body parts for regeneration. And it hit me when Horatio lost his arm. When they were trying to open the door to get Titus's pages, they were using black people to learn how to do regeneration through spells, so that he could regenerate his arm. One of those
ghosts definitely had a missing arm.
Yeah. So, and then they probably were using using it just to learn regeneration, and it might have been for other people. Definitely. But so that made sense. And so when you see the chief's body, he has a black man's chest. And then he has, like, his head is sewn back on. And so they're talking about how I guess maybe he's died before. It's not clear. But every time he dies, he's going to keep coming back. And I guess that means that, I don't know, because Christina walks in as William. And she takes the rock out of his desk, which was, like, supposed to give her hearing and, like, basically audio visual into their secret meetings. But anyway, I'm really not sure, like, what happened, like, whether or not he's supposed to keep dying and regenerating, or if they know that that's a spell that they can do, and so when someone dies, they try to use the spell. It's not clear.
Yeah, I think that because, here's my quick theory, I think because he was the head of the lodge, he probably had figured out that spell of regeneration, because he wasn't surprised, he understood that William was Christina. So maybe he already knows what it is, and they are doing a different form of that spell. But she, as William says, I want you to die 1,000 times, because that's what regeneration is right. Death. And which is also what Ruby said. But then she was like, but you're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to do it. Oh, because he still has the same wound. So even in a new body, his bullet holes pop back out.
Right.
Yeah, and so she just was like, well, I hope you die, bitch. And the only thing I wanted to say on there was that I was so disappointed that the whole police force wasn't dead. So,
right. Like,
yeah.
How many of there are you? Are there?
There's a lot of you niggas.
Too many. So, and they were just like, well, let's try to help him regenerate. I was like, I would have been like, listen, sir, you on your own.
The first time I had to cut a body in half, I'm like, listen, oh my God.
I'm so over this. Listen, I am not no ride or die police officer if I'm anything.
I'm calling all of y'all bad apples.
I'm sorry. I'm going to that fire department.
Right. Hey, fire people are good.
Yeah. So okay, off track. But anyway, Christina's like, yeah, fuck you, motherfucker. Good luck. And then she goes back to do the spell on D. In between that, she says that Tick has to go willingly back to Artem. That was the only reason that she would do the spell. I forgot to say that. So, yeah, she's only going to do the spell, not really for Ruby, only if she can get what she wants from Tick. So, this bitch is an opportunist.
And we have to, that's a really important point, because if she's doing it for Ruby, she's not doing it in exchange for something. So, you're right, because I didn't really put those two together, although Ruby did later. And then also, the fact that Tick knows what she's saying, because he knows about the equinox, the fact that Trost knows, and the fact that Letitia has some idea it's fucked up is crazy, because he basically says, okay, I gotta do that for D. Like it is what it is.
Yeah, and then it's all a mess. So apparently, to do this spell that will reset the curse that's on D but will not take it away, she needs the blood of D's closest relative, and then also like the intention and all the other things. The blood is going to represent the body, and they assume that that's Montrose, and Montrose is like, ooh, I don't know. So when they like flip back to the screen, he's to the scene, he's downstairs getting drunk, and Tick's like, you ready to do what you gotta do? And he's like, actually, I think that you're the closest relative. Surprise. You might not be my child. You might be George's baby. And Tick is livid.
Yeah, he cries immediately. He's looking for something to smash for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be tight too. Like, he was basically alluding to, he's spent all this time getting to know George and bonding with George because he thinks that he's fleeing trauma, but he actually could be bonding with his actual father, and this random ass man is over here beating him day in and day out.
LOL. Well, that's definitely what he said, but what I was thinking too was that deep down somewhere he knew. I don't believe he didn't have some idea, because they were very close. And here's the irony, though. I don't think that Montrose should have been able to beat him. That's not it.
No.
But it was still his uncle. So I'm just like, it's not like it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but that's the thing. Like, you allowed yourself to be very close to your other uncle. So it's like, I could see the transitive property, I guess what I'm saying. Like, when uncle raised you, the other uncle was actually dead. Y'all were close. Everybody lives on the same block. So I feel like true. Definitely the damage is there. And we will talk about that. But I thought about this a lot. I don't think that actually he told him because of that. I think he told him because he was scared something would happen to him.
Oh,
because,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's still Dee's uncle in some kind of way. He's still the closest actual relative. Because oh, no, you're right. Because maybe her brother would have been able to give better blood than he would. And he was telling Tick, because Tick might have to give the blood. Okay.
I think it also has to do something with intention, where it's like, even whether or not you're the closest relative, like if there's someone else, then the universe knows and the spell won't work.
Maybe.
So they'll know, even if it was like, if it's Hippolyta's the closest relative, but Hippolyta's MIA, the universe knows that, and they'll be like, okay, next up.
Right.
So I don't know. But anyway, lo and behold, Hippolyta shows up.
Like, what happened?
And they look at her like, bitch, you been gone for 40 days and 40 nights, and you just walking here with no explanation. And she said, my daughter's sick. What happened? She showed up right in time.
My show's on the DVR.
With a backpack on. Like, what are you doing? It was so crazy.
Space camp, bro.
But I was happy to see her. I was for sure like, oh my God, Hippolyta, like, so much has happened, ma'am. And also, we love you and miss you.
She came back like, all right, look, guys.
I know what's up. I've been to the future. So, yes, Christina does the spell. Dee returns to her old self, but does not wake up. She's still, like, in a coma. And then they have to figure out, like, what are they going to do? And so it as the episodes have been going, it keeps flipping screen to screen, so scene to scene. So Ruby, they show Ruby leaving with Christina after she does the spell. And this is when it gets kind of weird again, because Ruby's like telling Letitia, hey, I'm leaving with Christina / my man, Wilhelmina, and you need to be leaving with me because clearly she's the only one we can count on. I don't know what she has against Tick and his family, but that ain't got nothing to do with us. And we can get out of here and stay with the winning team. And Letitia's like, do you know that she's trying to kill my baby daddy? Like, do you understand? My man. Yeah. Like, I love him. Like, you don't get that? Yeah. And that's funny because it's, for me, I would also be looking at Ruby like, did you just say it would be okay if she killed my man? What kind of sister are you? Like, that don't make sense. So I was just like, yeah, again, Ruby, you're losing my fandom very easily. But whatever, Ruby gets in the car and she leaves with Christina. And then it goes back to Hippolyta now taking command of the scene. And she says, okay, what do we need to save Dee? We know that we don't have much time. Let's give it like 24 hours. Okay, we need to go get the Book of Names because that's the only way that we'll be able to recreate a spell to save Dee. Her mind starts clicking. I don't even believe Christina. Right, that too. We don't know if this is even a real spell that's going to save Dee. Like, she could be dead in 5 minutes. So, but for some reason, there's still like some reason for them to trust. I guess if she let Dee die, then they would all be like, "Fuck you, Christina. We're not doing anything you say." And because they said that Tick has to come willingly, if he doesn't come willingly, the spell doesn't work.
So, when her and Christina are having that talk, Christina says, I planned this out meticulously. You've seen it in the credits. Do you think Christina laid that page from the comic book on that rubble for Hippolyta to find? Because the bitch says she's planned everything.
Now we're cooking with fire. Because there's no way that that page survived. There's no way.
It doesn't make any sense. It was like laid right on top, like with a chocolate and a pillow. Like,
there's no way. If it burned, like everything burned, how could one piece of paper not burn?
And she knew she would go to save her, and she knew that if she said the Book of Names was it, that's the only way she would get it. And she would have gone back time capsule wise, but a white lady's not going to get into their house and get that book.
This is all... No, I mean, hey, whatever. So, okay. Wow. They say we got to get to the observatory, and she alludes to the machine not being just a time machine, but a multi-universe machine. So, and wait, what did you say? Okay, she said, I've been to Earth. 504 came back with endless technology and wisdom. And you said, oh, 504.
Shout out to New Orleans.
Like,
who that? Like, I was like, okay, right. you went to the hot boys planet?
I don't know where she been, but she's seen it all.
Lit. Also, in that Earth temperature is 500 degrees.
Right. So it's there. It's all there. It's giving Black future and Black history. But anyway, so yeah, they go back to the observatory, and unfortunately, we split back to the scene with at Christina and William's house, and she's telling Ruby.
The planet made her say,
I'm dead. I'm dead.
I just had to get it out.
Christina and Ruby are talking, and Ruby wants to know, she's really just trying to find out, like, who are you using to get what you want? Are you using Atticus? Are you using me? And Christina just keeps playing her. She's like, no, Ruby, I would never use you. Like, I see value in you, but my end goal is really just to become immortal, and I want to live forever and experience all the magic that I can just for my own benefit. That's all I want in the world. And Ruby's like, okay, babe, you really love me. Like, I'm like, that's not what that means.
Listen to me. All of my theories are coming to light. For one, that Christina is the number one fuck nigga on this show. Because she just said what all of us have heard before, which is, I like you, but I'm not going to let any bitch come in here and change my plans for world domination.
Right.
So
listen. The main point of that is, listen, I like you, but I have a plan for my life, and you are not in it.
And Christina, Ruby is literally like, but am I not important? And she's like, no, I fuck with you. Listen to me. I fuck with you heavy. I fuck with you. I don't know what else I can say, though. There's nothing else I can think of to say or do that would make this relationship worth it for you.
What do you want me to say?
I fuck with you.
It's like what Montrose said when Tick was like, why did you burn the book or whatever? And he said, what do you want me to say?
Yeah.
What more can I say? I fuck with you. That's...
and the fucked up shit I did happen, and now here we are. So you still fucking with me, or should we just
right? And Ruby's like, okay. I'm like, she didn't say anything. She didn't affirm anything about your future, so I don't see why you're still there.
The irony of her telling Letty that she's stigmatized, and it's like,
yeah, it's just hilarious. It's all hilarious. And then she's like, she lies though, because then Ruby is like, my mother was a hustler, my sister plays me time and time again, and Christina's like, I'm not your mama and I'm not your sister. And I'm like, but you're still lying to her.
Yeah, like, what? You're literally both of them combined times 12.
Plus a fuck nigga, plus a lying man that's not even alive. Like, you're like worse.
It was giving denial. It was giving hardcore white denial.
And gaslighting.
Thank you. Yeah, no, denial on Ruby's part and gaslighting Christina's part.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, I'm just like, she's just playing games. So Ruby's like, okay, well, fine. I'll trust you, but just don't hurt my sister. Again.
Which is like, she wants her man to be there. Come on.
Your sister has the next heir in the next whatever member of the family bloodline. Like, if Tick dies and this girl don't get what she wants, Christina will take that baby. So she might have to hurt your sister.
1, 2, it's like, why would you destine your sister to be a single mother when she literally does not have to be? Because you literally could just put up your boundaries and say, bitch, I'm not fucking with you, and I'm about to go run and tell all your secrets, bitch, fuck you.
That just hit me in the heart.
Kill black people for your own purpose. And then 3, bitch, what you want to be immortal for? What is the point? You just, like, oh, and then because part of her speech was, my daddy them used to talk about magic like it's regular, like it's poker, like it's politics, but I want to use it for myself? You didn't even end with, like, to help the world. You ended like, no, I really want to use it for me, because I think it's actually pretty fucking cool. And I'm Christina Braithwaite.
Right. It was like, if this was me and, like, I was an evil, I would be like, listen, I have a travel bug. I'm trying to see the world. If I get this magic book, I don't have to pay for flights. Don't you see the vision? Like, there's a point to my conquest. Like, it makes sense. For her, she said, I just want magic. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but once I have it, the power that has. Like, I'm like, Christina,
really
what?
Me think that, like, I'm really like, we were really hard on Thanos.
I'm dying.
I'm like, because I really hate Christina Braithwaite a lot more than Thanos.
I'm crying inside. That is so hilarious.
I'm just kidding. Like,
but it's like,
not get rid of Spider-Man.
She just wants power for the sake of power, and it's just like, for what? Like, you don't want to rule the world. You just want to have it. She just said, I just want to have magic. I just can't help myself.
I don't even want to get into white women today because another thing. Did you watch SNL this week? Of course not, and that's okay. I asked you for a reason because I wanted to hear you say no, but I want to give you a chance to say no. And Bill Burr was the comedian guest, and he is a white guy comedian from Boston that I've loved for a long, long time. And he told a joke about how white women waited 2.5 seconds and then jumped into the woke movement. And he was like, no, you need to sit down next to me and let somebody tell you about yourself, white woman. Like, if white men gotta go through this, y'all asses need to be right here with us. Don't jump on the other side of the fence.
That is so funny.
Like, wow. But he also is married to a dark-skinned black woman who is gorgeous, and they have a baby, and he loves her and treats her well.
What did we talk about last episode? You better do the work.
So we are okay with him and his jokes because he actually gives romance and love to black women and supports black people. So, suck my dick.
You better do the work, okay? That's it.
Stop thinking. And I only brought that up because it's like, Christina, like, yes. Oh my God, the guys at the lodge were so mean to you. But guess what, bitch? You still got to wake up every day, eat in that house, like sleep in that house, be at peace in that house, wear them nice ass clothes, be a part of the community. You got everything besides that one thing. And so it's like, I don't really feel connected to you as a character. But anyway.
Yeah. So, okay. We are going back to the storyline of everybody going to the observatory. They make it to the observatory. Tros is getting pulled up, like he's ready. Oh, you're jumping ahead. No, I'm just kidding. But like we are also gonna get into technology. Road rash. Yeah, Tros said bottoms up. I don't know how I'm gonna take this next trip, so I gotta get drunk for it. I was like, ooh, okay. And Hippolytus doing her technology thing. She's got infinite wisdom and technology. And knowledge, I mean, and she says, I have to redo the circuit board. I said, period. Oh, excuse me, ma'am. I didn't.
It's a real quick thing.
Real rap raw. Like, I'm about to just.
It'll take me 12 seconds.
Exactly. I know exactly how long it's going to take, and I know exactly how to do it. I said, wow, when George has been on the road, she's been in the lab. Like, he didn't even really know.
Cooking, okay.
Dexter's lab is somewhere under their house. Well, like, you know what I mean? Like, she's just working on side projects nobody knows about. Absolutely. So Hippolyta, first of all, we stan her, we stan Anjanae, we stan the woman who plays her, like our Sora, like everything. So basically, she's working on the machine. It happens really, really quickly. Montrose comes in drunk, but he starts spilling the beans to Letty that he knows about the baby that she's about to have, that Tick has been to the future. Tick knows he's going to die in the autumnal equinox. He's spilling, like, hot tea.
Like, we need to get caught up. We've been doing too much running around, not enough communicating.
Exactly. He's like, listen, I'm going to catch everybody up because we are not on the same page. And then the awkward thing, the really unfortunate, or like, it's not weird, it's just like, because I'm not somebody's parent, I don't get this, but everyone keeps trying to say, my child. Montrose is like, you're gonna have a hand in the death of my son if you don't make him invulnerable, and because you gave the pages to Christina. And Letty's like, okay, but my future son's gonna die too, and I want him to live. And I'm just like, Who gets to live? Like, y'all, everybody wants to protect their child. Like, okay, what is the most important thing? Like, whose life is more important? I really don't know. Like, obviously they're all gonna want what they want, but it's just like someone's gonna die.
And cons list for who deserves to die.
You know, but it's like,
I'm mad again because I'm not mad because I do understand that, like, these are black people dealing with literally like a white, powerful, rich witch bitch, but y'all had all the bargaining power, and you let this bitch haggle you down. I'd be like, protect my whole fucking family, bitch. Okay, then I'm gonna eat these pages right in front of you. Like, you're never gonna get them. Because it's like, right. You're not going to just you're not gonna tell me something I didn't come here for and then use that against me. So I think it's just like they constantly underestimate Whitey.
Or over.
Yeah. Sorry, I just got mad about that all over again. Like, you know, y'all literally y'all called her every time you needed help, which she knew would happen, and then she gave you a half a gram of information, and then you kept moving.
It's like, also, how about find out how to remove vulnerability, make Christina invulnerable, and then just kill her? Like, they keep saying, protect my family. They're very much on defense. I need you to be on offense.
Well, but just like going back to how them white people had all the time to be racist to them in episodes.
True.
It's just like white people have the time to sit up and strategize on how to create racist systems and keep them in power, whereas we are literally like not sharing and passing down information enough to dismantle systems. Like, it's a rat race. But
wait, you know what just came to mind? It's just like the way that I pictured it is like, black people are like equality, and white people are like furthering oppression.
Yeah.
Oppression advancement.
Yes. Oppression digital. Make oppression digital. Put it in the cloud.
Literally innovation, oppression, innovation, and we're like equality, progress. They're like, we are so past that.
Listen, they're like, this shit is permanent. Okay, you're just gonna have to accept that it's permanent.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
Letty asked, like, oh, what, there's another universe? And that fucked me up, because I was like, oh, imagine a Black Mirror episode about this shit. But basically just, like, it doesn't matter if there's another universe, because the you in this universe will be fucked.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness. Okay, so...
Wait,
then
did you mention the braiding?
No. Oh, yeah. Oh, this was interesting because I keep feeling like Tick should have been part of their family for sure. So, Hippolyta's telling Tick, like, okay, help me with the technology. Help me put this circuit board back together. And he was like, I don't know how to, like, do this. And then Hippolyta was like, just braid it. First of all, I've been taught you how to braid, boy. What's wrong with you?
And he was literally like...
And he was like, okay, we're gonna...
I was like, yo, masculinity has to stop.
Are you or are you not in a man's place? Like, you're supposed to know a little bit about technology, I think. You spent all that time in the auto shop.
I felt like what it was him being, like, nervous about admitting that he was, like, very caring and gave TLC. Like, I feel like...
Oh, that's
felt like
what you were
saying.
saying. Oh.
You're like...
I was
like,
being
fix the
fucked
car,
up.
Nigga.
I was being really fucked up. It's both. It's both because I'm joking about that for our listeners.
For sure.
I believe in.
This is all jokes, to be clear.
All roles are people roles. There's no gender roles here. And also we know that Dee and Tick did have a really strong relationship because you remember the first episode, he jumps in the window and she's like, oh, cousin, I miss you. So like we know that they have like a sentimental relationship. So knowing that he used to braid her hair is a beautiful memory. But anyway, so they're able to turn the machine on. Hippolyta says, whoop, zoop, zoop. I know how to focus on Tulsa in 1921 because that's when the book got burnt up. That's what we're going to do. But in order to do that, I will have to become the motherboard for the machine. She shows that from the future, she has power sources that are now embedded in her arm. And, I forgot to say, before they left, she showed like some type of key or some type of like vial.
Some technology for
and she said, I have the technology that will turn on the machine. I don't need a key, which is dope.
Yeah.
I'm glad that someone is getting around Titus and, you know, all of the lodge's power. She's like, we don't need the lodge. We actually, that's a metaphor for the Black community. We be trying to work within the system. Woo! I love that.
She said, bitch, we don't need that old ass key. That shit gonna break. That shit gonna burn in the sun.
She said, Black futurism, bitch.
Yeah, I'm the Black Elon Musk.
I love that for us.
There is one other small thing that I'm trying. Oh, how about the fact that she goes, oh, let's take you back to the hotel. Girl, can you take us back to one day prior? Can you just take the suspense out? Just give me a regular Sunday when they all go out and go to church and I can just break into the house. Like, why do I have to go? Now I'm against it. They're always up against a clock.
Hilarious.
Like, nighttime comes like that in this show. It pisses me off.
Literally. That is so funny. I was actually thinking about that too because I was just like, you could have given them the morning of. They gave her, she gave them 3 p.m. like...
Before a massacre? Before a
sun's down at 5:30. Like, y'all got 2 hours, get it done. Like, what?
LOL. I'm like, what is this, a game show? Like, this is like a Netflix show about saving the future? Like, in real life? Don't do that.
And I also really want to know at what point does George meet Hippolyta. So, like, I'm really interested to see more about that.
Are
and
Hippolyta
also
and Dora sisters?
I don't think so. I think, okay, so we're going to get to it. But I think the other girl is the cousin that was in Kansas. I think Dora's sister is the cousin that died.
Okay, I took names. Maybe that's true. Oh, okay, because she liked him. Because I was like, because she had a crush on Uncle George, so I thought that was Hippolyta, but okay.
Right. No, I think that, because that's when I was like, oh, so then, remember earlier on, I was trying to figure out, like, who's related to who? Whose child is who? Like, is Dora?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. So, anyway, well, maybe, hopefully that will be revealed, but in the next season, they might go more into their storylines, because I want to know more about Dora.
I'll just watch a day in that house.
And also, like, okay, so we're going to get to it. Anyway, so they jump into the future, and, where are we? 1921. The first thing that points out to me, I kept saying in the first episode, like, I want to know more about their background. This is before we even knew Tulsa was involved. I want to know, like, what's their class status, like, what did they grow up valuing, like, all those things. And when we realized they're going to Tulsa, like, a black community where they own everything, where they decide who gets to do what, and like it seems like everyone's like middle to upper class when just based on like seeing what they're wearing. It's very like you can see it's affluent. Obviously they own the businesses. They're dressed up. So I was just like, wow, like it was clear in the first episode like there was like some class distinction, but then realizing that it's like the legacy of Tulsa is like really powerful. So there's definitely like some affluence there.
Like put up a picture of that, and then like people rolling up to Diddy's white party in the Hamptons.
LOL, right? Because they was throwing parties. They was turning up with black owned wine, liquors, cups, tables, chairs, moonshine. All of it. Black bands, everything.
Tobacco was hitting back then. All the drugs were legal, bitch.
Listen.
Black on opium. I'm just talking shit.
I don't know. So, but it's still dope, but sad. So they jump in and you just see that affluence. And the first thing that they're like, okay, so we got to figure out like what time in the day it is. Then they realize that it's the day of the big school dance, which is like prom. Mm-hmm. And Montrose realizes like, oh, this is my school's prom. It was the same night of the massacre, the beginning of like the massacre. So they have to get out and they have to go find Montrose's house.
But the dance was canceled because them niggas knew they were doing that shit that day.
I was confused because I was like, okay, if the school dance was canceled, the school is owned by the town and by the black people, but they knew that that white people were gonna come do something. Maybe they did.
I can't be sure if it was white owned or not because I feel like it might have been a public school.
Because it was what was it? It was W.E.B. Du Bois. Booker T. Washington. My bad.
I want to fight you now.
Whatever. Anyway, yeah. He's like, don't be conflating our theories.
Nothing on this shit. But no, they did have a photo of him in that library in like the first couple episodes. But yeah,
they did.
I was also curious about that because I was like, they clearly knew. They knew. So somebody knew. In the school or black people had an inkling but didn't know for sure. But
it could have been like when your school gets closed for a bomb threat.
Say again?
It could be like when your school gets closed for a bomb threat. Like we heard that white people were gonna kind of wild out tonight, so we actually had to cancel the dance. But we're gonna try to reschedule it for next week. But clearly not. So
let's just I'm sure you guys will be over it by then. So we'll just do it again next round.
Yeah, let's for the safety, and that makes sense. I would do that too if I owned I ran the black town and I said, hey, listen, we're gonna lay low tonight. Get back to our black business next week.
When the city's still smoldering and on fire, that'll be it. See you guys then. So
they find clothes randomly in this hotel. And what was it, the Stratford or the Stanford?
Stratford.
One or the other.
It was Stratford, I just told you.
Stratford. And then they're heading over to Montrose's childhood home to, technically Dora's childhood home, but they live near each other, to find the Book of Names. Mm-hmm. So they're walking over. And what happens? Or do you want me to finish that scene?
Go ahead and finish that scene. Yeah, because I'm like,
okay. Oh, sorry. So they're walking over, and the first thing that happens is that Montrose gets caught up in like a flashback. Mm-hmm. He's drunk again, so he's like kind of. I wouldn't. You know what? I actually don't like that. I don't like to say like, oh, it's because he's drunk, he's acting this way. But obviously, we saw him drink before he got into the portal, before he got into the observatory. But they're walking, and then he sees a flashback of something that happened when he was a kid, and he sees it's probably during the massacre because there's people, white men on the back of a truck, and they have guns and they're hooting and hollering, and he's like stunned. So then Letty,
I thought it was PTSD the whole time. I almost forgot he was drunk.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. I'm just like, damn. But the only reason I said drunk is because the next scene, Tick is like, we not about to have your bullshit today. Like,
yeah,
you had to drink, you had to get drunk, and now you're not going to be of any help to us. You're just going to slow us down.
Right. But we know he's just mad about his mama, and that's it.
Yeah, like I get it. Like Tick has a right to like be upset, but at the same time, like you should know that this is going to be like an emotionally unsettling experience for Montrose, knowing, I mean, you know that what happened at the Tulsa riots, you know, only your dad and a few people survived. Like, yeah, if that was you, what if you had to transport back into the war? Like, you would be traumatized. So, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think that it's, again,
he didn't have any empathy.
Of Tick's just angry because he doesn't have space to give him to be supportive of him right now.
Yeah. So, and then he was also like, I mean, if you were my dad, then like, sure, but you're not my dad. You're not my dad. So, yeah, I mean, it's really an emotionally charged moment because especially seeing the flashback, we're like, oh, we know what's going on in Trose's head. But they're like, okay, well, we got to keep moving. So they get to the house it's like a weird little farm stable or something. So they're looking across the street. They see Trose's house. They see Dora. No, they don't see Dora. Sorry. They see Trose. They see Montrose getting beat. He's
by their daddy.
His father is like, pick a switch. And then I think he starts lying. I'm not sure if it's a lie, but it feels like he tried to lie and then kind of got caught. So he was saying, hey, I was getting beat in this moment because I was wearing my brother George's suit for prom and I put on his jacket and they paid a lot of money. I shouldn't have wore it. It was my fault. But then the father goes, don't be putting no flower in your hair and preening in front of the mirror, like basically posing in front of the mirror. And so I'm assuming that his father's beating him because he's like, don't be sweet. Like, what are you doing? You can't be putting flowers in your hair. That's not manly. So I'm thinking that Montrose, like his first instinct was to lie and say, no, it's just because I put on his suit jacket. But I can't tell if it was both.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure.
My take on that scene was that, and I'll take it over from here, was that he was thinking about that scene, and I thought it was when we started hearing that scene before we saw it in Trose's head, and I thought Trose was thinking about how he used to be Tick and he was feeling remorseful for it. So to go back, it took me a second to realize, like, oh shit, dude, that's not Tick. That's actually him seeing himself get beat. It was just a layer of like, I think about that a lot with Black parents and over disciplining and how, like, there's some research that is very clear that this comes from slavery. Like there's a reason why no other culture is this inherent and big on whooping like that. Although now I think about it, I'm like, I don't know if West Africans whoop. I don't know anything. But
I think that other cultures do it.
Yeah, but I wonder if like a races. Whip is the thing, or if it's just like being aggressive with your kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Is there a difference between using a belt and using a shoe?
And a spoon. I think that there are other races that like brutally beat their kids, and it's like cultural. That's true. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about, like, it's not the master race. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just think about how, like, white kids don't have that. And that's why, you know, we've had other conversations.
Other races, not necessarily white people. So I would say, like, other people of color. Maybe not white people. I don't know about them.
Wait, what do you mean?
I would say that other people of color beat their kids just, like, with belts and
no, I was saying
inanimate
that, like,
objects.
White people don't do that. They don't, like, there's, like, I'm just thinking about the layers of psychological warfare that we go through externally and how we recreate it in the home. And I'm just thinking about how, like, white people don't have some of these things because they don't have the generational trauma. And then they go out and do stuff like join cults to create trauma because they just need it. Because I'm just like,
you just reached,
like, we all
but
have
okay.
our issues, but, like, white people
yes, we all have our
They
issues.
have time. Anyway, so that I wanted to bring that up. I also think that both are true. I think that he remembered it. I think that the suit probably was a whole thing, and I do think that probably the flowers would put it over the edge and what made him say all the, like, anti-masculine comments while he was beating him. But I do imagine that it would be both, and then definitely he was trying to beat the sweetness out of him, and by sweetness, like, it's not just the like, kind of the slur. Sweetness is, like, his essence of being a young boy, a young human, like, just a loving human. Like, he was literally beating that out of him. And that's why we're talking about discipline in such a way that, now that I'm thinking about it, might trigger a lot of other people. Because I'm like, that is barbaric. That's just not the way that a human kid needs to learn. It's just not the way. And I know that people say it is, but, like, there's nothing that comes out of that is good. There's nothing. I don't even think discipline is good if that's what comes out of it, in my opinion. So anyway,
something that I was thinking about really quick is the term vulnerability, because we've been talking about that a lot outside of this podcast, and, like, it's really, if you look at the definition, the state of being exposed to the possibility of being harmed. And, like, in this moment, that's what it feels like the sweetness is. It's, like, obviously, like, your innocence as a child, but, like that fear of black parents hold and try to, like, beat out their kids to be like, you cannot be vulnerable because this world will harm you. Like, you can't be open to that. But what it does
is it takes away, I agree with you completely, and I've been thinking about this, it takes away that critical stage of development, which is childhood. Kids deserve to be children for longer.
And to perceive themselves, and just to, like, understand what does hurt their feelings and what doesn't. It's like just to have their own perception of themselves.
Yeah, there's so much we can unpack, I think, about the layers, because this is the first time we've heard Uncle George say, "Oh, sorry that I let you get beat, but we got beat too." And we're kind of like, okay, but this is a real representation of it. We also see Uncle George watch it happen, and that is an upsetting dynamic. And we see Dora come outside and save Montrose from their daddy, and her daddy being like, "Bitch, if you don't get out the way, you gonna get beat too." And then Dora's daddy come out like, "Vernon, get your ass back in that house. Why are you acting like this? You're not about to hit my kid. Like, I mind my business when it comes to yours, but you're not gonna hit mine." And I think we've talked about that too, how I mind my business gets people hurt all the time in abusive situations. But I get it. You're not about to go next door and tell that nigga how to raise his kids. So,
but I appreciate the respect that the families have for each other. But I also appreciate Dora's bravery.
I don't understand how that nigga was really threatening Dora. Like I've never been a kid, but I like to hope to think that my heart will be soft enough that when another kid comes out of nowhere, like, "Please stop," I'd be like,
"You can get this beating too."
I'd be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Where am I?" Like, I just imagine that I would be like, "Oh," but, like, you harden your heart and then you just keep going, and then at that point, it's no longer about the discipline, because I know it's not about the discipline, because you're not checking in with the kid to be like, "Hey, did that whooping really affect you? Like, are you no longer homosexual? Like, what's going on?" Like, you're not checking in. You're doing that, and you're not following through on the action. And so if the impact of your thing is the opposite, especially when it comes to raising queer kids, all you're doing is creating distance and a lack of love between you and your kid. You're literally doing nothing to help them in their life. You're only treating them worse about their self. Anyway, so I didn't even mean to go all into that scene, but I think that was visceral, and it helped Tick to have a second to cool down and say, okay, my daddy didn't do nothing different than what happened to him, and Uncle George overlooking is the same thing he always did. But what's really interesting is, just to finish that thought process, the way that Dora's daddy came over, like, mind your business, but this is my kid. The fact that Uncle George didn't intervene is very troubling.
It is.
That is his kid.
But then he says something about how he helped me more than you'll ever know, or something like that in the next scene. Montrose says that about George, so I wonder what he means by that.
And I'm sure that he was probably supportive, and I think maybe he's the younger brother too, but generally speaking, I just feel that with family, with black family, with family only so far removed from slavery, I feel like there's a lot of overcoming and a lot of forgiveness we just have to have for each other, because I don't think Uncle George is perfect. And I also think he's been martyred. You know what I mean? Like, we would have seen way more of his flaws if he was alive in more episodes.
Also, he slept with his brother's girlfriend, so... Anyway, I said he slept with his brother's girlfriend.
Listen,
so
we're gonna get into that because we already get to the point. How about the fact that I'm like, was it 3 of y'all? Was it 2? Or did you watch? Were you just supportive? Are you bi? What? Tell me more. Like, he was just like, we used to hang out. And let me tell you something for those who don't know. If anyone, your parents or older say hang out, they was fucking. Okay. They use euphemisms to act like they weren't.
I think people still say that.
Okay. I remember going to therapy once, and my therapist being like, "Do you not think the women who were trying to tell you not to be a slut were sluts once?" And I was like, "What?" Like,
oh my goodness! Whoa.
That way. So anyway,
that's funny.
Not saying anyone's a slut. We actually don't believe in that. We are pro slut on this show. So
pro hoe.
Yeah. Okay, let's get out of that scene because I'm just stuck in that scene. So
yeah.
Dora comes. Dora's brave, and then she's like, "George, what the fuck? You're not gonna help?" And George is like, "Oh no, what you want me to do? What you want me to do?" And he was like, ugh. And then he was like, "You still gonna go to prom with me?"
Just weak.
And she goes, "Yeah, I'm still gonna prom." I'm like, what? What's happening? Like, what is this arrangement? You just don't go anyway? So, she decides to go, and then in that moment, Dora's mama is like, "Hey, so sorry about this, but prom is totally canceled the day of."
Wasn't that the cousin that said that? The girl?
It was
the
somebody
girl?
from the house.
Oh, it was the cousin. Or the other girl that was in the house who said it.
Yeah,
but either way, somebody did. I think it's the cousin. I'm very, very, like, certain that because if she also made it out of the riots, then that would make sense. But I don't know.
So anyway, we realize that they are close. They're very close in that. Oh, wait. Here's just one more level of it. Dora really did protect Montrose by marrying him.
She was his beard.
Yes, but, like, I feel like sometimes people use... Maybe beard, I don't think of it in such an affirming way. Like, it seems like an act of love. Because...
True. I mean, they said that they wanted what would they call it? Familial love is the strongest love. Isn't that what Montrose said? So it was like they both wanted kids. Yeah. After experiencing that type of trauma, like, love is not even necessarily what you're searching for anymore. Yeah, romance is not what you're searching for. Yeah, it's not what you're searching for. That's not the only thing that's going to make you feel secure in this world. Yeah. It's building something for yourself.
Right, so then they start talking again about game plan, how Letty's going to distract by knocking on the door and getting the book, which, like, great plan, guys. Yeah, like, what are y'all going to break in the back wearing Sunday suits, 3-piece suits? What are y'all doing? So as they talking, and then they turn back around, and Montrose is gone.
He dipped.
When I tell you he dipped, he was like, "Thank you so much. I'll be denying you intimacy today. Merch is available now." So he's
Deadass, though, is really available.
Yes. So so this is just kind of, there's nothing ever bad about this show, but, like, you can tell they're like, all right, look, we just got to get to the next scene. So Letty goes, all right, we got to split up. So you go and I'll stay. And they just hotwire a car. They hotwire an Oldsmobile, whatever a Model T car, which actually, that might have actually been a really old, like, second generation Ford. And so Tick just drives off, and I'm like, whose car was that? Whose car did you just steal? I always think about these details. So they separate. I'll stay with Letty. So Letty is walking around, which I'm confused about, but whatever. She's on the corner, and it's starting. So we start to hear gunshots every once in a while, and we start to see the caravans of white boys. And I just want to say, like, my PTSD is peaked because the time at our alma mater when I got called a nigger on the street randomly, it was that same setup. Just white. Remember how there was a whole thing about that? Well,
Was
this
this
group of white
first
boys,
year?
I guess, was leaving high school because it was like 3 p.m. in the little town we went to college in, and they just called me a nigger out the window. And I was with, and I won't say her name, but I was with a friend, and that you know, but not a diva, and I was just like, huh, and that shit really stuck with me because I was like, that's how much y'all don't see black people, that y'all feel like it's a rite of passage to call me a nigger in passing. Wow. And so like white boys in a car are still the most dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
The most dangerous squad of anything. So, yeah, so she starts running because they are knocking niggas out left and right. Like, literally, they're just hitting every black person they see. And this is another time when we know that the police are coordinating because the police are not helping these neighborhoods. They're nowhere to be seen. Probably police in them cars. So Letty starts running, and they start playing like they're going to shoot her, too. So, of course, she's running. Even though she's invulnerable, it's still scary. So she runs towards a house, and as she falls on the lawn of the Freeman, she falls in the Freeman lawn, and she is aided by Montrose and George's father, who has a protective side of him on the other end of that abuse, and he has a shotgun, and then Dora Daddy pop up with her own motherfucking shotgun, and they're both like nigga, and they get into a shootout, and it was at that point that I said, I need a gun.
Because he opened up, the next scene, he opened up a drawer and said, okay, one for everybody.
Here, but like they had to have, because think about like how you had to protect yourself. And I'm not saying I'm like walking around scared of my life from every white person, but it was just like, imagine if they were just walking around like acting like everything was sweet and shit is not sweet. Like they were ready without knowing what they were ready for, and I really appreciate that. The women knew how to use guns. It wasn't no kind of like, it wasn't no kind of like, okay, ladies, like y'all just hide in the basement. Like no, like everybody get a gun, everybody take a post. And they both like went on their rooftops and like started to protect their homes, which is just so upsetting because they kept saying, hey, like, because we know from the beginning of this that this night ends in that house burning on fire. And it's also really important, and this is why I really fuck with anything time traveling, because the people going back have to not alter history, or else, like, people will be unborn. The whole universe can be different because of your, butterfly effect type shit. So, I was really interested to see, like, what impact will they make? Will Letty say some bullshit? What'll happen? And so she's in there, and mind you, Letty has on this flapper dress, but I guess there wasn't no heels her size, because this bitch got on kids.
Yeah.
I was just like, you're standing out, but the guys look nice. Or they looked from head to toe, they fit in. And imagine the fact that putting on a suit made them fit in better. But anyway, so she's there, and they're like, sis, like, what the fuck is happening outside? Because imagine you're just in your house and you just start hearing gunshots all over the city.
Right.
You're like, it's not motherfucking 4th of July, so what's happening outside? And so
that's like this summer. It was wild. All the fireworks, but anyway.
Right, but it's still, even then, we were still not like, all right, somebody go to the roof and keep sitting.
Yeah, I was like, something's off.
Right, and so, let me put my notes up. So she is standing there. She's like, listen, she's looking around. She's realized, like, yo, this is the family of the baby I'm carrying. And I thought that was beautiful that she was just recognizing that. And I feel like she was taking a second just to, like, take everyone in. Because they kept saying, bitch, what's going on outside? And she eventually was like, it's a bunch of them niggas. But she was also probably like, I can't tell y'all it's a massacre. Like, she can't tell everybody. She can't be like, guys, this will go down in history and then also be erased from history. Like, she can't do that. So I took a list of they were like saying they need to run, but they didn't have the kids. So the other thing was that George and Dora running after Tros meant that they didn't feel comfortable as a unit leaving the house because they wanted a safe place for the kids to come back to, which is also. Listen, it's starting to come to me just how, because I hadn't really thought about this story and how it relates back to everything else we've been saying, like, because it's kind of a prequel of going back, and it's kind of hitting me now, recognizing how, like, it's just hitting me again. But anyway, so some of the people in the house were someone named Martha, Mama to Dora, so I'm assuming like that's Grandma, Beulah Annie Mae and Nana Hattie, who Nana Hattie might be the mama, and then the two fathers. So they're all in the Freeman house, by the way. That's just, they just happen to come together to be safer, which, or maybe they're duplexes, or no, they're not. I just feel like
they're separated. I think they just came together to like protect the families together because they're probably close.
Yeah, they're trying to take care of each other, and I'm just like, it was beautiful. Also, one of them, I was like, is this young Hippolyta? But no, we
right. I'm still trying to figure out who she is.
That's Esther or one of the people I mentioned, because I could not keep track and I didn't rewatch that part. So anyway, it made me think about this. Have you ever seen the movie Sophie's Choice?
Nah.
It's a terrible movie.
I don't think so.
I also haven't seen, but I've heard it so much. I'm going to tell you what I think it's about. It's literally about like a woman who has to either like decide to like, it's some shit where it's like either have the baby and the baby have a hard life, or not have a baby and like save the baby's life. Some bullshit. It's like a terrible choice. But because this is a Black woman show, we're going to call it a Sasha's Choice. And what would you do? Like, think about it. No matter what, you have to choose a life. And by choosing,
so who am I choosing between? Oh, choosing the kids coming back or choosing us all leaving? Yeah, because it's like they didn't know how bad it was going to get. They didn't think about arson. They just thought, okay, it's going to be a shootout. We're going to shoot and like scare them off, and then they're going to leave. We'll probably have some broken windows. They might, the kids bust our car tires. Yeah. Like, I think that they probably have experienced or like, were prepared for this type of thing, obviously, because that's why they have so many guns. They weren't thinking, oh, our neighbor's going to rob us every other day. They were thinking, no, white people might come and fuck with us. We have protection. So
we live rent free in white people's heads, by the way.
They're out there using their anti-oppression time to further to advance oppression.
Innovation. I feel like there's coming out.
Innovation, oppression, advancement. Innovation, oppression, advancement. That's what they wait, because when Tick said in the last episode they were rioting, that's what I thought they were. Yeah. That's what I thought they were saying. I was like, what does he mean they were rioting?
No, I think that nigga means like, oh my god, it's white people at the march in Washington.
I know. I my first thought was innovation, oppression, advancement.
I really wish they had they could have really did so much. Like, I want to see deleted scenes where he's like, Nick Cannon is anti-Semite, or he's like,
oh my god, that would be so hilarious.
There's 10 Fast and Furious movies, like just
10. No, that's the one. Oh my gosh.
Vin Diesel was singing.
Because they would have gone from thinking like, oh well, we only had the third generation of Ford. Yo, you should have seen there was 10 Fast and Furious, and they got all these different cars. But anyway, okay.
How about Rihanna never puts out R9?
Fucking dying. I am dying.
Sorry.
So basically, let's go back to the other kid. Let's go back to the kids. So they're running after Montrose, and then little baby Montrose runs into his friend, who I swear I put his name here.
Thomas.
Do you remember? If you remember, let me know.
I think it was Thomas.
Thomas, thank you. Okay. All my predictions came back around, because do you remember when he was talking to Dean, he was saying police shot my friend, or white people shot my friend and whatever, and I was like,
my heart hurts.
And I was like, that was going to be his little boyfriend. I knew it. I was like, that's going to be someone who got shot.
Don't make me cry. Okay. All right.
Because I was like, there's no way little baby queer Montrose is like not curious, because that's about the age when you start to either suppress or to let it out. And I was like, I don't know, I just knew. So also, well, I know Misha Green, we FaceTime, so she told me. But basically, Montrose is standing there just drunk, just thinking, I have to save my friend. Like, there's no reason why Thomas has to die. Like, I don't want this to happen. And that's when Tick pops up, and Tick is like, hello, like, nigga, where the fuck? And he's just crying. He's like, yo, why are you so drunk? He's like, bro, I'm going through it right now. Like, what? Like, pay attention, you know? Like, this is some traumatic shit. I can't believe this. And then he's saying that, you know, this is my friend. He gets shot in a second. I need to save him. And he's like, Dad, if you save him, I would probably never be born. You cannot be gay. You can't be queer because it ruins my existence, which, not true, but I get. But
not even just gay, but you can't be out. Because then you'll never get with Dora. And then I will never happen.
I guess I'm just saying, like, there's a way to make it work. But I know, but he's saying, like, because it's already happened, we kind of have to just, like.
I mean, just to cut in, that is annoying to me. And I hate, like, time travel movies. Because I'm just like, just change it.
Oh, my God. We have to watch.
You'll never know if you change it.
No, listen,
obviously, something will happen, but. Obviously, something won't happen.
No, you're not listening. We have to watch Butterfly Effect because this movie, if you watch that movie with me, you would get how this is my shit and how I'm like, he cannot do it. You have to see the science between the movies. But, yeah. So, anyway, they, you know, he's going back and forth and Tick is like, bruh, is it worth it? Is it worth me potentially not being alive? And Tick is like, listen, you have to be alive. I have to be a father. Hiding my true feelings for Thomas is the first step in a long line of sacrifices I made to be your father. He said, I wrote this down, he said, I cut out all of the soft parts of myself just to be a man because men have sons. And that he swallowed his pride, like his literal pride and his actual pride, because he wanted him to be his son. And I was just thinking, like, parents are so fucking complicated.
It's giving Moonlight.
It's giving Pariah. I'm gonna cry. So, but again, it brings us back to Sasha's choice of like, do you let little baby Thomas, who is nothing but a cute teenage boy who's open to his sexuality, and let him get shot in the head, or do you save him and then potentially ruin everything else after that? Because who knows what the hell happens in the future. Oh, this is also just messed me up talking about multi-universes. What if the universe where his son, George, writes that book is actually a different universe? And that's why the details are different. And then what?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's why.
So what if in this universe it doesn't happen that way?
And so then what?
What if the baby doesn't make it? We don't know. We can't just keep assuming that's going to happen.
Which is why I'm saying just change the history. Nobody's going to know. There's again, multiple parallel universes. You could jolt yourself into another universe by changing.
Have you ever seen Rick and Morty?
No.
Listen, Rick and Morty is. If I could put Lovecraft Country in this vein, I would put Rick and Morty in that vein because it's such a crazy, funny ass show. And the reason I bring it up is because at some point in the show, they ruin the world they're in, and Morty is the grandson. He's like, Grandpa Rick, what the fuck? What are we gonna do? And Rick is like, we'll just go to another universe. He's like, what? So they just leave their family and keep hopping universes, and then that becomes a big part of the show. And then sometimes they jump to universes, and the universes are in trouble. Like, they have ruined whole universes, but they jump to the other ones, and it's just hilarious funny. Because they leave everybody else behind and like, fuck it. So just that, to make it lighter like that, though there are consequences to fucking up your universe. But anyway, so this is when I love it because they are, I'll finish this and I'll go back to the house. So basically they are talking about and recognizing what this time is for what Montrose remembers, because he's like, and now I remember Dora and Uncle George coming in to save me. And they do come in and they're like, yo, what's good? Like
no, they don't come in like, what's good? They come in like, get away from my brother.
Oh yeah, that part.
They're literally being swarmed by like 15 white men and one white woman in a ankle length
dress. I missed the part. So while they were going back and forth, I think I think Montrose was really trying to figure out, like, am I going to save him? And then Thomas gets shot. And so the white boys have started to surround them. And as he mentioned, him and Thomas hold hands to try to run because they're just not even thinking in that moment. And that was beautiful. So he died while he was holding his hand. And of course, he is in shambles because he's like, traumatic. I just denied this boyfriend that I loved, and he got killed in front of me. And then his brother and his future wife show up, and they're here to help him, but they're 3 kids against a nigga with a gun and a bunch of whatever. And so they're standing there and they're like, wait a minute, this is a story you tell all the time about you having somebody, a stranger, come save you, like Jackie Robinson. And then it reminded us of The Dream, which is in the very first scene, when there is an alien and then
then Jackie Robinson comes out and beats the alien with bat.
So they're telling the story, Tick and Montrose, and they're like, there's a stranger that comes, and like they're like Jackie Robinson. It reminds me of the dream that we had in the very first scene of the movie, where there's aliens coming down, and we should go back and rewatch that scene, by the way, before the last episode to see if there's anything from it. But then somebody comes out of nowhere, like Jackie Robinson, and beats the monster with the bat. And so I'm like, well, I wonder what. Oh my God! And then Gia was the alien, huh?
Yeah. No.
I'm not saying she was literally the alien. I'm saying, like, she represents the alien.
No, I thought the alien was the monsters.
No, the monsters were in the movie. The alien woman. Remember the woman in red? The Martian woman?
Oh, yes.
That's it. Yeah. And then the monsters are... Okay, cool. And then the war is maybe the race war? The war against the white?
We'll come back to it.
I'm reaching.
Noodling on it.
Where is it? Okay. So basically, they are waiting and they're like, where's the stranger at? And I just love this in time travel shows where they're like, when they're going to come? Who's going to come? Harry Potter.
And then look at them changing history.
Harry Potter thought that his daddy was going to show up and then realized his daddy does not come back to life to save him. It is him looking like his father. So literally the same thing. So he's like, what? And then they're like, oh, no, we must have did it because something's wrong. And then they look down and there's a bat. And they're like, oh. So he goes, go for it, Tick. And so he picks up his bat and runs in and he's like, let me tell you something. Tick has been looking for something to put a foot through for a minute. Tick's been looking for a nigga to saw off on since the war. He's been getting bad news left and right. His father has died. His daddy was lying to him the whole time. So he uses that bat the way that he's wanted to use it for a minute now. And so he doesn't kill, but like he beats down all the white people. And there's one girl.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she came in a Susanna dress where you came to terror from sun up to sundown, and that's what you decided to wear.
You want to be down so fucking bad, and guess what? They still won't let you vote.
And then Tick didn't beat her ass, but he let her go. She's lucky. She ran all like, oh.
Yeah, like, and that's what I'm saying. Then guess what? They're gonna come after this nigga and put him. Okay, we don't even talk. We just buried Emmett Till.
Exactly, it's too much.
So he's just swinging away, and the kids are sitting there, and I'm like, yo, they're about to kill 3 teenage kids. I mean, they massacred people, so there's no like surprise there. But like, just think about the humanity of that, and then on top of the respectability politics of it, these 3 kids were dressed very nice, and their hair looked nice, and they were educated, and they ought to speak good English.
Top of their class.
Again,
well read.
So homeowners. So what are you gonna tell me? So anyway,
can we just say they had some very big houses?
They were paid. They were living good. I mean, I think that level of prosperity, we would be in a different place race wise if that, whatever. I don't want to talk about it because that makes me upset. That also makes me upset. Just think about our community being torn down over and over. They are getting saved, and then he looks up and he does the catchphrase and he goes, I got you, kid. And I'm like, why that line?
Yeah, that's so random. It's like, what do they say that when it's like something that is not of the times? I can't think of the word, but it's just, it doesn't work.
Did Jackie Robinson say that? Like, somebody had to say
Maybe it is of the times. It just doesn't fit. I got you, kid. Because it feels like, oh, you know him, but he doesn't know you, so.
Right, and then it's also like, I guess he's saying I guess what would you say now randomly? Like, if you was randomly encouraging a kid on the street.
It sounds more like, hey, I got you 50 cents on that soda, like, no problem. Not like, I just saved your life, get home to your family. Or like, be strong, stick together, kids. I would have said something like that. Like, all you've got is each other.
Girl, I would have been like, these niggas wildin'.
I'm like, hey, listen, take the bat. You're gonna need it.
That's
the one.
I'd be like, it doesn't get better. I'd be like, buy a gun next time. Next time, bring a gun. That's what I would say. But anyway, it says, I got you, kid, because that's something he heard growing up a lot. And I thought the one thing I just want to say real small about that is that we've heard this story more than once. And everyone in their family has stories they've heard more than once. And there's nothing like them stories boring the shit out of you. But then to take it to the next level of, like, I got to make that story, I guess it's like, oh, well, good thing you heard that shit 12 times growing up, or else you wouldn't have been able to kind of live in that moment. So anyway,
would he have hit them so hard, you know?
So
would he have hit
away,
them so hard?
Him,
yeah.
He, strike, ball, home run, whatever. And they make it back to the hotel, just the guys. So Tros and Tick makes it through the portal, but the portal's looking weird because Hippolyta is struggling to keep it open now. And so Montrose is standing there waiting on Letty, but he's also just like looking at the massacre happen, looking at everything being on fire. He's listing out the black businesses that are burning down to the ground. He's talking about the people that are lost. He's talking about the couple white people who tried to Anne Frank and save them in the basement. Like, he's talking about just the terror of it all. And I mean, just Michael K. Williams is, I'm so glad they humanized Montrose before this so we could be on his side, because just the pain of, I hadn't really put together that the massacre was when their whole families died. And they are it.
They became orphans.
They're it. And how many people that happened to? How many people just lost their family because whites just couldn't leave us the fuck alone? Literally.
And did they then, did someone take them in? They were only probably, I don't know, they could have been end of high school, but they looked like they were just freshman or sophomore in high school.
And then I want to do the math that if you were 15 during that, if you were a white boy who was 15 during that runaround doing them riots, then you were 70 in 1970. So if you had kids in the 40s, then your kids are fucking alive right now about to collect Social Security. That's how recent that shit is. So, so I don't think we have to say everything. You can just feel it. So, yeah, so that's the guys. They're back. We're waiting on Letty. Now, to catch you right up real quick, Letty's in the house. Letty's just looking around. She's paying attention. And then at some point, they give her a gun and everyone goes to their posts. Whoever it was, this is why I thought it was Hippolyta, but one of the young girls is like, oh my God, are we going to be okay? And also, I think I have a crush on George Freeman. And also, and I'm just like, imagine being a little girl during that time and all you're supposed to be doing is worrying about who you like and what your sexuality is.
And
what
math.
Social studies homework you have. Yeah, and you're worried about this. So Letty just can't say anything because she's really terrified she's going to change history, or if they get another sausage.
Yeah, someone lives, yeah.
Yeah, if they get out the house, then everything can be ruined. And she wants... And it is very selfish.
Makes me want to cry again.
Her kid.
Yeah, she does, and she has an invulnerability. So she's like, I really can stick around, and keep these people.
I hadn't even thought about
in
that.
the house.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
Just...
Yeah. So she goes upstairs and she gets caught by the grandmother. I want to say the Freeman. Yeah, no, she gets caught by Dora's mother or Dora's grandma, probably Nana Hattie, and she's like, hey. She's rummaging through stuff, and her grandma comes in like, hey girl, what you doing in here? And she's like, I was just trying to get a better vantage point. She said, bitch, nah, and cocks her pistol and goes, now tell me what the fuck you're doing here, because if you are a mulatto trying to rob us because you're really with them, it's gonna be a problem.
Because you're really with them. Oh man, because
they
were robbing.
Like, I ain't seen them
they were looting.
Like that,
did you see them looting? That didn't come up yet, but they were looting. The white people.
Oh yeah, not yet, but of course they were ruining businesses because they could. So let's be clear that looting is a thing that people do when they say fuck this business because I'm trying to send a message. That's just it. People ruin people's physical property to send messages. That's it. I'm not saying it's illegal. I'm saying that that's we've talked before on the show about how when the Eagles win, we can loot, and it's fun. So I'm not gonna do this with y'all. So anyway, we're almost there though. So Letitia is running with No, she's trying to explain, so she just goes, okay, fuck it, I'll just tell the truth and go from there. The bitch says, I'm from the future. I got your great-great-grandson in me right now. Your great-great-grand-cousin, son, daughter, boyfriend is in danger, and if we don't fix it, then whatever. And she's like, I need the book of names. And then
she said, I don't know what you're talking
about.
Only
book I know is a good testament.
She said, sorry, can't help you, sweetie. I don't believe you.
And then it made me think, how many black women have literally hidden their witchcraft under Christianity because it was just too scary to admit that they believed in something deeper.
I don't know. And this is a family secret, so
definitely. How
many more family secrets died with the Tulsa anyway?
And so she actually goes she definitely goes to say, yo, I know all about y'all, and she pulls out that birthmark that we saw that the cousins had, that Tick has, and I was like, that really saved her, because she had to pull out some type of information, because what else would she know? And then if she convinces her, and so Nana Hetty's like, okay, here you go. She pulls a book out. She's like, I've literally never opened it. And then she quotes Jeremiah 26:12-13, which is a verse that I remember, the hope in the future verse and what God promises. And she's saying, if you figure this out, my faith will turn to flesh. And I thought that was really deep. And the white boys are outside just throwing fire into the home, just burning it up, knowing there are people alive inside because they fucking feel like it.
Yeah, it's really terrible.
Barbaric.
It's really...
And it's like
the flames literally
oh, this is just a show. This is
engulf them.
Illustration of history. This part is not science fiction.
Yeah, this really happened. And in multiple cases in history, in different states and cities, this shit happened. And so I don't want to hear anyone say, I'm so shocked and appalled. I can't believe this is happening, because I'm sure you've heard the story before.
And if you haven't, HBO is spoon feeding it to you every time they do a show with a black woman lead. So you need to go and learn that. At some point, you niggas need to pick up a motherfucking book. Okay? I recommend The People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. It's a long ass, thick ass book, but even from the beginning, it's going to start you off with some native history, which we will talk about at the end. I just also wanted to bring up something that's so random, because I randomly wrote about the Book of the Dead, which now that I think about it, I think was just me thinking about somebody dying and putting their name in the book. When Trost was giving all the names of people who had died, I was thinking like, wow, these names belong in the Book of the Dead. Like we need to hold on to our memories of who we lost, because I think that's another part of it. We always talk about the leaders who are thriving, and then we talk about civil rights leaders, and then anybody in between we don't really hold on to, unless you're a part of another layer of marginalized groups and you remember the Marsha P. Johnsons or the people who helped, or Shirley Chisholms or whatever. He talked about, the only ones I caught were Byers Taylor Shop, which is where that big the jacket that he stretched out, or that dirty or whatever, what he would mention. White Phelps was the I wonder if there was two Phelps and just this Phelps happened to be a white man, or if that was his first name, but White Phelps was the one who sheltered Negroes. Commander Knox was someone who, Commodore Knox was someone who they hurt the most. I missed the name, but he mentioned the best Negro surgeon in America was there. And I'm just like, that nigga, I mean, imagine if we had him and we could trade him back for Ben Carson. I'd do it today. I would trade him out. And Thomas's name goes there too, and all the little boys who were killed, whether or not for their sexual orientation, but we know that happened a lot too. And all the little black kids who were killed just because they existed, even to this day. So Letty holds Nana's hand until she burns, which
that is just,
yeah.
Journey Smollett
Listen,
is playing the fuck out this role.
Listen, I can't imagine nobody else. So we see that. We see So they're at the portal. The guys are at the portal, and Tick is like, "Girl, she better hurry up," because Hippolyta is really struggling to keep it open, and she starts to. He's like, "You gotta do it." Dee's
vomiting, frothing at the mouth.
If you ever seen Dragon Ball Z, she basically just goes Super Saiyan, and then she also goes Storm from Marvel. It's really the two together. She starts to levitate herself. She's jolting electricity all through her body, and then we start to see her hair change, and her hair comes out blue, electric blue. So I was like, I've never wanted my hair another color before. Like, I'm just like,
it looks amazing.
I'm going to have blue hair by the next episode, just so you know.
The only thing, I wish that it wasn't bone straight. I know it's like the electricity and this, that, and the third, but I would have loved for her hair not to be, yeah. Because also, I think
the first afro,
even if it was just a little like how my hair is right now, just like blown out, but not super straight. What?
Her hair was not. I didn't see her hair being bone straight.
It is. It's just. It's like.
Well, you know what? The shit fried her. Her hair was.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Because she had jolts of electricity.
It doesn't matter, but I would have loved to see not bone straight.
But that actually makes sense. If electricity goes through every part of your body, including your hair, it's gonna straighten your hair out because that's heat.
No, it's not.
Okay. Well,
that's not how that works.
We can ask the quantum physicist because one of us is
We
correct.
can. I mean, I don't know the physics, you're right. Or I don't know the science, but like, it's like the way that like a perm works, it like breaks down the proteins of your hair, changes the proteins. So it's like, I don't know if electricity does that. So it would fry it, which would like keep it in the state that it's in. I don't know if it would like
fry,
straighten.
I mean like heat would.
But the way it's like the motion, exactly. Like when you straighten, you're like pulling it and then you're putting the heat on it while it's straight. You're not putting the heat on it while it's curly and like it just straightens. You have to like change the shape of it and then heat it to set that state. Like when you put the curlers in, it sets it curled.
This is a poll.
I don't know. This is that would be a very interesting poll.
Was Hippolyta's hair flat ironed or hot combed by the time machine? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was definitely a worthy use.
But the color was dope.
Thank you for the debate. So, okay, so we're like, oh shit, if Letty don't make it back through this, we're gonna have a problem. And so, but also, how is it not changing history to have the book?
I know. So I'm just like, listen.
But I guess what they're saying
whatever.
is they're not going as literal as other movies, where other movies are like, don't change anything. They're saying don't make someone do a different action than they would have done tonight.
Right.
And then the other thing about time traveling is now the thing you did in the future to go back to the past is a part of the past and was always going to be a part of the past and is also always going to be a part of the future. So that's how we saw the baseball bat thing. And so for the significance of Tick being able to save his daddy and them is probably both his daddies and his mama is beautiful because you could tell he wanted to call out to his mama. He misses his mama. Been gone longer than anybody. So anyway, Letitia is waits with everyone, which is so brave of her. And then we're waiting, and like I'm like Letitia, we know you know how to run, girl. Where you at? And when I tell you, sis is like, dum dum.
A pole bear, like.
I'm like, if you don't get your feet hot, come on, do some quick feet and come down here.
They could have done the same scene with her running.
They really could have, because I was just like, if you don't make it to this portal, ma'am. But like fire, like they had started to brought in planes and they were dropping bombs on, which really they were dropping just fire bombs. And she was like,
the coordinated effort of terror is just unnecessary.
Was like, girl, we've always been this country has always been terrorizing because we brought 20 years later, we brought Nazis over here so we could get to the moon first. Like, we don't care about violence if it's white violence and it's
trifling.
We don't care. And when I say we, I mean the government, because I'm not part of them, but I am technically. Technically, I was born
unfortunately
here,
based on my driver's license and passport and social security card.
I mean, don't let me find a black British man. I will literally be about this bitch. I will be 7 hours ahead of you calling in. But anyway, so she's walking, and I just want to say this. Thank you, HBO, for not playing this girl is on fire. Just thank you so much for not playing Alicia Keys in that moment, because I was like, if they had done that, it would have been problematic for me, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I'm so glad there was no Alicia Keys. I just thought that would have really ruined the moment. The art, as always, really hit me, talking about fire and being fire and bringing fire from our people. So Letitia, next thing we know, her and Tick jump through the portal together, and Hippolyta comes down and her hair is blue, and they fucking did it.
Yeah. It was a lot. And I
hope that Hippolyta's okay. I hope that didn't take that out of her, because like this is something that we've seen like in the Bible. Like if people saw God or like got too close to God, they would literally like they would turn gray, they would age. And so I'm just hoping that her body doesn't take a toll from interacting with that much magic and that much universe and that much energy.
Mm-hmm.
I hope she absorbs it and doesn't hurt her. And also, before we talk about the rest of it, I meant to ask you this earlier. What kind of jump would you do to get into the portal?
I feel like, honestly, I would pop lock into the portal. I would be passing the funk.
What would I do? I feel like I would I would definitely like stick my head in, and then if I thought it was cool, I think I'd be like, I think I'd land like, ow. I'll body roll into the portal for sure. For sure. You gotta pop out with intention.
Exactly. That's the thing. So you really got to get in that, like, I'm about to turn up. Whatever comes.
Yeah, you basically gotta Toosie slide your way into the 1920s.
Oh, I'm tweeting that. Anyway, that is hilarious.
T-shirt.
Drake didn't even know he wasn't ready.
So, yeah, that's the end of our episode. Oh my God, what do you feel?
Predictions. I honestly don't think that we can fit it into one episode. So I think that, like, I'm letting HBO know now that they should be adding another episode onto the season. It's okay. We'll wait a few months if you need some time to record. But definitely, yeah, I don't think they can fit it all in.
Hey, you have a couple months tops.
And, like, don't rush it, because we want this to end with all the answers. Or if there's going to be a season 2, I guess, then sure. But they should have just made it a 20 episode season. It's just...
Yeah, we don't need more episodes of Real Housewives than we need of this show. But I imagine the budget for this is, like...
astronomical.
Listen, there's really people in the basement bleeding blood to pay for the show.
Because even the music, I read something that was like, there's like 20 orchestral scores, and they're like doing everything from scratch and then pulling all of these different poems and spoken word pieces and speeches.
Creators of that.
Yeah, for sure. No, they are. And they're all doing it at home while quarantining. Like, it's not even like they're coming together during, like in a normal like studio and stuff. It's just like there's an orchestra. I mean, there's an opera piece during this show. Yes. It was recorded in this woman's home in her apartment. She was like stopping the recording for like sirens going by and stuff. Like,
she was recording next door to you.
And also, Raphael Saadiq is the like music producer.
He just got that contract for HBO because he also does that for Insecure.
And that's dope.
Listen to me, secure, lay back.
Like, when you're like, listen, I just follow my creative dreams, and then now I get paid a 9 to 5, so I don't even have to tour. Like, I just live my dreams through these shows. Bro. I actually saw him like 2 years ago at Afropunk.
They honk to say bitch.
Right. You was out? It's quarantine. No, yeah, at Afropunk. I think it might have been last year, but it might have been 2 years ago. I can't remember. The time is flying. No, it's probably 2 years ago. But yeah, he's dope. Always loved him. So, and he always does an amazing job being like music director of shows and movies. This episode is
dedicated to Raphael Saadiq and to our Indigenous people, because we're recording this today on Indigenous Peoples Day. We just want to let you know that it's fuck Christopher Columbus over here.
100%. And like, yeah, unfortunately we gotta end on a unfortunate sad note, like our president is continuously wilding, and he's trying to he like made an executive order to make Columbus Day a national holiday or something.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know why you had to do that, because I think it already was a holiday and we're just not recognizing it.
Yes, he
was like, y'all gonna recognize the shit. I was like,
went
sir,
out of our way to do it, sir.
We don't want to. And also, he's not a hero. Also, he's a scammer, and he just got lost. He said, I'm gonna take y'all money. I don't really know where I'm going. Invest in me.
Just brown people across the globe people of color across the globe are so nice, because random white people show up, we'd be like, what up, though? As much as they act like the hood is such a dangerous place, we'd be like, what up, though? You have color skin, go to their neighborhood, you will end up in a basement with your arm cut off.
Yeah, you gotta always look both ways when you see the lighter pigmented people, because they might have something. They might have something going on. You just need to check people's intentions of all colors. Thank you.
Yeah, period.
But yeah.
I just feel like we're living I feel like Tony Soprano is president. But Tony Soprano was actually a lot smarter than Donald Trump is, so that is actually very ignorant of me to say. So I would probably say like Paulie Walnuts is president, although I fuck with Paulie Walnuts. Anyway, the point there's an episode of The Sopranos where they talk about how, like, don't take away Columbus Day because that's Italian pride. And I'm just like, y'all gotta stop.
Oh, yeah. I'm just like, I don't think that I would want to be proud of that. I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't if it was my culture. And I heard I think someone said it really well, is like, you know, there's not such thing as white pride. There's a thing of, you can have pride in your heritage and your nationality if you're not from America, or like, you know, your culture based on where your ancestors are from. But Black people, we created Black pride during, like, you know, the Black Power movement and through civil rights, and like, we have pride because we have a shared identity in being Black in America, and we're fighting oppression. You can't be like, white pride is not the same thing. You can have regional pride, you can have pride of the country that your people are from, but the only reason that white pride was developed was to promote white supremacy. So you can't separate that. You can't, at this point, we're not at a point in history of the nation where you can separate white pride from white supremacy. So don't say it if that's not what you mean.
If we all went to camp, if we all went to sleepaway camp for a week, and you were mean to me for a week, and then I decided I wanted to have Chanel Pride Day the next week, that might be a little bit extra. Now, if we went to sleepaway camp every year for 400 years, and every year you bullied me, and eventually I rose up, I'd be like, you know what? I deserve a Pride Day because I went through 400 years of that shit, and I was fighting my way out. So I feel like the enormity of it is, I think that everyone needs to know this, even Black folks, is that, like, it's not just about your experiences. It's about the collective. It's about the marginalized. It's always going to be about the person more oppressed than you. So about our queer folks, our trans folks, our non-conforming folks, our differently able folks. If it's not okay for them, it's not okay. Our indigenous people, like, when we talk shit about white people, we're doing this for you too. You know, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
So wanted to highlight a indigenous identity group that is on Instagram that gives out really great resources around this time of year and in general throughout the year. It's at Urban Native Era, and URBANNATIVEERA. This is not an ad. This is just us sharing this, and they put out some really great artists to follow that are U.S.-based indigenous folks, some musicians, like graphic artists, and then they would just post history and different like different like merch you can buy, stuff like You're on Native Land and things like that are like, we need to get with our indigenous people, Black folks, like this. That's who we came from here. They came from here more than we did. So we're in this together.
We have a lot to learn. So, yeah. Well, thank you for listening to us recap HBO's Lovecraft Country. Don't forget to let the Black woman in your life know that they are witty, cultured, and worth your while. And read a book. Word.
Spesh.